Hi friends, I wonder if I'm the only one who feels like the world's gone completely mad. In Yekaterinburg, Russia, in 2004, a courtroom spectacle unfolded that could easily fill the whole season of courtly passions. The main character was a scorned romantic who decided to sue his former beloved to reclaim everything he had invested in their relationship. His list of the lost assets looked like a bizarre mix between a pre-holiday shopping spree and a flea market. A shopping bag, a box of ptichye молоко, this is Russian chocolates, two potted azaleas, a personalized mug, 100-gram chocolate bar with nuts, mind you, 3 kilograms of bananas, strictly yellow ones, 300 grams of sweet tooth cookies, one large red apple plus 4 yellow ones, apparently for color diversity, a quartz watch, a university badge shaped like a kite, a fish thermometer, 2 postcards, and, wait for it, 7 yellow men's half shoes. Why 7? Nobody knows. Maybe the 8 went off to the army, or maybe it's got just lost at a party. The defendant, being a practical woman, replied that all the food had long been eaten, and the shoes, if they had ever been a proper pair, were nobly donated to poor neighbors. Apparently those neighbors now work around like comic book characters, one in the left, another in the right. The Ordzhonikidze district court took one look at this drama, signed, and denied the claim. The reasoning was ironclad. He was never set any conditions for his gifts. In other words, if you hand over cookies and shoes without attaching a special clause, return with a year if unreciprocated, tough luck, that's on you. In the end, man was left without love, without shoes, and without his ptichye молоко chocolates. But he did gain one invaluable lesson. Romance is romance, but better keep your inventory locked safely at home.
Высокие. Высокие отношения. Нормальные для духовных людей.
In Kyrgyzstan, it seems they've discovered a universal cure for all social ills: reading the Kyrgyz epic Manas. In 2014, Irina Karamushkina, a deputy from the Social Democratic Party of Kyrgyzstan, proposed forcing prisoners, whether they like it or not, to study Manas. The logic is simple. Children, she claims, fall into trance after reading it, and storytellers experience magical effects. And if the epic has such superpowers, why not use it instead of prison regimes and conscious bleach? I think all prisoners should read Manas in jail, and then purification will take place. Maybe it will save them, Karamushkina said. You can already picture the scene: a former pickpocket quoting the hero Manas, while a former racketeer argues about the meaning of the epic metaphor. The deputy went even further, suggesting that a star should be named after Manas. Why not? If the epic can heal convicts, then a star as a bonus seemed like the logical next step. Topchubek Turmangaliev, an advisor to the president, has long dreamed of turning Manas into the national ideology. He plans include official approving that epic as a country main document, even renaming Kyrgyzstan capital to Manas city. Who needs a constitution when an epic can rewrite everything? Parliamentary colleagues kept up. Deputy Kanibek Osmonov proposed expelling anyone from the country who doesn't know Manas. Apparently, soon passing an exam on the epic will be mandatory to get a passport. Fail to recall the hero's deeds, and you should pack your bags. This story is already 11 years old, and I could not find any confirmation whether the Kyrgyz parliament actually passed the corresponding bill. But for some reasons, I really want to believe that Deputy Irina Karamushkina has already resigned her parliamentary powers and now demonstrates her energetic activity no longer in such responsible institutions. In January 2013, a resident of seaside town of Fokino in Russia, Vadim Kandakov, decided to treat himself to civilization and bought a tube of Blender toothpaste. But instead of refreshing me into bliss, he was greeted by a tragedy of planetary scale. From the toothpaste tube came water. Vadim was so shocked by this scam of the century that he couldn't brush his teeth. And without clean teeth, as we all know, everything collapses from sleep and mood to faith in humanity. In his lawsuit against Procter Gamble for modest 15 billion rubles, which is roughly $196 US dollars, he admitted he suffered enormous moral distress, fell into depression, and the shameless tyranny of a global corporation deprived him from a joy in life, of reading books, and even of attending cultural events. After all, how can you go to the theater when instead of fresh breath you've got only despair and disappointment? According to the plaintiff, Procter & Gamble deliberately replaced the toothpaste with water just to rob him of his human mood. And really, what kind of cruelty is that? They promised a radiant smile, but instead delivered nightmares. And here's the question. If each defective tube is worth 15 billion, then how much should a pack of cookies without filling cost? In general, unclear how Vadim Kandakov manages to survive without brushing his teeth in the morning. And I really don't understand how millions of other Russians survives living in such conditions. Apparently, this is why the Golovinsky court of Moscow was not convinced by Vadim Kandakov's arguments, and on April 2nd, 2013, it ruled to dismiss the case. Belgian scientists seem to have finally shattered the myth that lying is a bad habit. Their research shows that the human brain adapts to falsehood just fine. In fact, if you practice forgetting the truth long enough, you might as well be ranted out as the perfect politician. What's more, with regular training in deception, you can become almost invisible even to a polygraph. So much for all those Hollywood dramas with the lie detector. Turns out it's more slapsticks than science. Brain scans revealed that when a person lies, the prefrontal cortex lights up like a Christmas tree. Conclusion: lying is a hard work, requiring serious cognitive effort. But unlike real work, it actually earns you applause. The University of Ghent staged what looked like an audition for Liar Liar. Students were forced to recount their daily routines while alternating truth with fabrications. Some lied rarely, some constantly, and others on a schedule. And result? Those who lied more often quickly became so skilled that their response times matches truthful answers. The brain basically said, why bother straining when lying is my new normal? The moral is simple. The polygraph might as well be tossed in the trash if you are dealing with a professional liar, or even better, someone with pathological dishonesty. As for everyone else, better start practicing, because if honesty is strength, the modern world is clearly pumping iron at a very different gym. Do you know anybody who is a pathological liar like that?
У меня не было соблазна остаться на длительный срок. Никогда. С первого дня работы в качестве президента Российской Федерации я для себя сразу решил, что я не буду нарушать действующую Конституцию. Я против увеличения сроков пенсионного возраста. И пока я президент, такого решения принято не будет.
Были российские солдаты или нет?
Это были местные силы самообороны.
What do you think about it? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, my friends. Share them down in the comments, I'll be reading them all.